Yes.
Let's do this.
All right. I believe we're live. There we go. We're live. Hooray! Welcome, everybody, to the coolest podcast on the internet, as far as I know. This is your exclusive 5 seconds to 10 seconds that is only on the YouTube version because I have not yet hit record on the audio version. So you're getting some sweet extra content here. Totally, right? All right, so now I'm going to hit the record button. Are we ready for our theme song, Chris?
Yes.
Okay. The theme song, for those of you who don't know, is just the sound of beer opening. So, ready? 3, 2, 1. Hello, Internet. My name is Spamoman, as always, your host of Drink to the Past, the only podcast where we once a whole bottle of Coca-Cola. Also, share and subscribe and ring that bell to get notifications every Friday when we go live. And I am joined by co-host and or guests, which is to say my, of course, regular co-host, Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris, the entire thing, Audette.
And we have a Kilted Gamer with us.
Hey.
So this is Seumas. You can catch him over on a couple of places. You want to tell them where to find your stuff? You have your own blog as well as you just started writing for Two Guys Playing Zelda, right?
Yes, just started for TGPZ Gaming as a writer, and I am on Twitter at the Seumas, spelled Seumas, and on YouTube, Seumas the Kilted Gamer.
Yeah, so definitely check him out. I keep meaning to check out your blog and stuff, but instead I get distracted by beer or something. So you'll have to forgive me. But I think I read you just posted your first article on TGPZ Gaming, so I think I read that. Which one? I'm trying to remember what's come out on the site recently, though. So I'm like, crap.
It was covering the idea that I would like to see a remake of the original NES Zelda.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, that was actually a fun read. So definitely go check that out. And so unfortunately, our good buddy Seumas will not be drinking, but that's okay because that just means that I have to take one for you. So I got my official Route 66 shot glass here. It's got a gun in it and everything. I got this when I went down to Albuquerque one year for a bagpipe competition, actually, oddly enough. Didn't know they had those in Albuquerque, did they?
I do have a very specific question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you run into any drunks in the street?
Not at that time.
Not while you were driving?
But you haven't had.
I don't think I was driving. I think my dad drove most of the time because at that time I was in a youth pipe band. I think I was driving age, but I didn't get around to actually getting my driver's license until a couple of years later when we went to college and stuff.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so this one's for Seumas. Yummy. Actually, that's not as yummy as I thought it would be. That's okay stuff. That's that George Dickel I had on here a little while ago. It's okay. I've been mostly mixing it, so I forgot what it actually tasted like. And my beer of the week is, of all fucking things, Coors, which is, I was actually just having a conversation with another guy about this, that Coors is obviously the biggest brewery here in Colorado, but a lot of Colorado beer heads will not actually drink all that much Coors anymore, especially with just how many microbreweries are all coming out. Because I actually looked it up, and in Denver there are 111 Starbuckses and 158 microbreweries. So we have more microbreweries than we have Starbucks, which I just thought was fucking impressive. So, but anyways, so I got Coors Banquet here, which is the beer that Johnny Lawrence drinks on Cobra Kai, which so there's a popular culture reference for you. Hooray! Oh, I forgot to tweet that we were live. I think that means we have to drink, right?
I tweeted we were live.
Okay, Chris tweeted we were live. Now I'll
Not that I have the same followers that you do.
Right, yeah.
You know.
Hey, follow Chris on Twitter. He posts when we're live when I forget to because I'm drinking.
All I do is post when we're live and occasional political rants. So, you
yeah.
know. What Twitter is for, actually.
Yeah, something like that. And my Sean drinks something stupid. Why is my coaster stuck to the bottom of my mug? I was like, this is gonna fall and spill some shit. This is gonna be bad. I'm fixing that right now. So Sean drinks something stupid this week is a hot buttered rum, which I got wondering because my wife brought home a scented candle. And it says it smells like hot buttered rum. And I'm like, who the fuck puts butter in rum? And I looked it up, and apparently it's a somewhat popular cocktail.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so it's basically butter rum. It's basically grog with butter and cinnamon. So I'm like, all right. So we gotta drink it through the cinnamon stick like a straw. I'm pretty sure that's how that works, right? There's not a good cinnamon stick for that.
Is it
Too open.
Too open?
Yeah, it's like, you know how they kind of fold here. Let me shove this cinnamon stick all up in there. It's got like a crack in there. It's like it just won't look quite seal.
Oh, it's not like that.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna drop it in and call it good. So
yeah.
It's quite hot. Not terrible. I think next time I'll use a little less water.
Just add some noodles, chicken in there. Have hot buttered rum soup.
Brilliant.
Sounds disgusting.
You're a genius and an idiot at the same time. That's why I keep you on the podcast. Anyways, shall we get into the news and booze, and I'll actually start playing the game here.
Sure. I guess I'll be reading this off.
So, yeah. Our game today is one that I've been wanting to kind of start playing for a while, and it was on a crazy Steam sale. If you go on Steam right now, it's like $3 for Tembo the Badass Elephant, which is one of the very few games that Game Freak has developed that is not Pokemon. So, I'm fucking excited for this wacky-ass shit. Just see what Game Freak does when they're let loose.
And it's published by Sega, which is not the typical publisher
of Game Freak.
Game Freak games. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Did you say Sega?
Yes.
Yeah, Sega published this. It's developed by Game Freak.
I thought they went belly up a long time ago.
They just stopped making consoles. They're not doing great, but they're still around.
Yeah. I mean, they can survive just off of Sonic, I'm pretty sure, indefinitely, even if it's not good.
The Sonic fandom is dedicated enough.
Yeah.
Even though they probably shouldn't
any
be.
game and bitch about it. Any.
Hey, Sonic Mania was good.
Sonic Mania was good, but that's probably partially because some other non-Sega guy made it.
Yeah, the Sonic fans made it. Which should be who's running it. Speaking of Sonic, The Last of Us series on HBO will star Bella Ramsey, Lyanna Mormont from Game of Thrones, and Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian from The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Also, Sean thinks he was in Game of Thrones somewhere too.
I think he was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Was he the guy with the spear?
Maybe. I don't know. Because I didn't watch a ton of Game of Thrones, which is weird because I used to be the only person in the world who had the entire series on VHS tape.
Wow, I didn't know that was a thing.
It wasn't. I pirated it.
They're starring as Ellie and Joel.
Yeah, so I think that's cool at least I do know Pedro Pascal from The Mandalorian. So it'll be a little weird that I'll actually have to see him, reveal his face more than once per season. But it's pretty cool.
You know what the art style of this game reminds me of? Is Shantae.
Shantae?
Yeah.
I still haven't played any of those games because Limited Run got delayed, and so I got a Game Boy Color version of it coming, but it's not here yet. I love how I'm just collecting peanuts. This is fucking great. Yeah, so any other thoughts on Pedro Pascal and whoever that other chick was? Boom.
Seamus, if you don't have any, I don't have any. I'm not much
No.
of a game
No.
Yeah, well, if I'm not mistaken, the next piece of news and booze is also related to
Sonic?
the doohickey here. Oh, so hold on. I can jump farther if I sprint first. I get it. There we go. Boing.
So, Sonic the Hedgehog movie sequel is officially titled Sonic the Hedgehog 2, just to be continuing, and will release April 8th, 2022, exactly 420 days from today. Must the go through... unless we go through a Monster Sonic debacle again?
Yeah, that's... if they
the
get
first
delayed hilariously, then, it might not be exactly 420 days, but I thought 420 was a hilarious enough number that it's like, okay, I gotta put that in, because apparently there's a Sonic Movie 2 countdown account on Twitter that was just like, hey, it's gonna be 420 days. I was like, okay, I have to report on this now, don't I? So, I like the first Sonic movie enough. I'll definitely see the sequel. So, what do you guys think about that? And its epic title, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I like how there was so much speculation that there was going to be some cool subtitle, and then it's just Sonic 2. Briefing.
The
what?
Is Jim Carrey going to be in it again?
As far as I know, I'm not sure if they've announced that yet or not. But it would be pretty weird if I hope they contracted him for 2 movies when they got him. Because otherwise that'd be ridiculously awkward to just be like, hey, Sonic 2 has a different guy as Robotnik. And that's just going to be weird.
Yeah, I remember when the very first trailer for the first one came out. I was in Florida at the time, and I was looking on my phone and I saw it on YouTube, and I'm like, what's wrong with his eyes? And then come to find out later on, a lot of people complained about it, and they changed it.
Yeah, so at least that happened, because I almost wonder how it would have been received, because it was a decent movie, and so if that was the only problem, what do you think people would have thought about it? I don't know.
Oh.
You just watching me mash peanuts here?
Someone's camera's frozen, it looks like.
Is your camera frozen, Chris?
Person.
Chris, are you there? Chris might have died. That's unfortunate, because he's the guy reading our news and booze. Oh, no!
Oh.
Because I have the thing, but it's behind Tembo here, so I guess I'll go into the next piece of news and booze while we wait for Chris to figure out his shit. So, Playing with Power is announced. It's called Playing with Power, the Nintendo Story. It's a 5-part documentary series about Nintendo that will, quote, open up the world of video games and this legendary company in a way most people have never seen before, according to executive producer Sean Astin. So I think that's kind of neat that they're just making a documentary about, Nintendo video games. I'm like, that's kind of interesting. And Sean Astin, of all people to produce it, is kind of interesting as well. He was the guy who played Sam in The Lord of the Rings. So I think that's just kind of a random, more geekery happening. That's cool.
That ought to be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Man, Tembo takes a lot of damage. This is awkward.
Oh, are you playing right now? Because I don't see it.
I am playing. It should be in the Discord stream there, if you're on there. So, hopefully you can see that. I don't know. Boing. If not, I guess you could open up the YouTube. I'm still not sure what happened to Chris. I guess he's disconnected now. I wonder what the hell happened there. Hopefully he's not messaging me or anything, because I can't read my messages while I'm streaming a game. Boing. This game is kind of interesting. It's weird combination of
because I can't
things.
Messages while I'm streaming.
Ah.
Boing.
Why is my audio coming?
Okay.
It's kind of interesting.
I'm hearing my audio twice. Are you hearing that?
Yeah, I
combination of because
I tuned into the YouTube.
Okay, now is your YouTube popping through?
hearing my audio twice. Are you hearing that?
Yeah, if you could, yeah, that's awkward. If you could turn down your YouTube or turn off the mute it or something, because otherwise that's going to be doubling the audio the whole time.
Oh, hold on.
We apologize for our technical screw-uppery.
That's awkward. If you could
Hold on, give me a moment.
turn off the mute or something. Otherwise, that's going to be doubling the
God,
audio.
that's getting annoying, actually. Apologies, everybody. Okay, Seamus muted himself for the time being, so that's alleviated that at least for a moment. So you're a helper. All right. Well, I'm gonna start drinking this beer. That is, I think this might be the lightest colored beer that I've had on the podcast.
Okay, yeah, I see it now.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So
Yeah, I apologize for all that. Technical difficulties have been solved. Everything's A-okay, except Chris is still MIA.
Yep, that is awkward. So wherever Chris is, I'm sure he's missing out on our amazing conversation. So next piece of news and booze is Crash 4 is coming to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series S and X on March 12th, which is kind of cool for Crash fans. I've never played a Crash game, so I'm not like that invested into it. But if I was to get it, I would probably get it on Switch. So the fact that the Switch version now has a release date is kind of cool. So I might check that out. I might not. Have you played much Crash yourself, or?
I have, yeah, but it's been a long time since the PS1 days. I've actually, the only one I played was the first one, and my the only clear memories I have of it is the Indiana Jones moments, where you're being chased by the boulder, you're coming towards the camera. I thought that was cool as hell.
Yeah, I've heard some people kind of talk about that, and some people like it, and some people don't. It sounded okay.
Yeah,
I'm just not like huge into platformers, so it's like if I have a noticeable game hole for a little while, I might check it out. But it's I'm glad that at least it's gonna find an audience on Switch. I think it'll do pretty well on Switch.
Yeah, I might even consider getting it sometime in the future, since it's coming to Switch.
Yeah. And I guess also, along with this, they've announced that if you bought the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One version, you will get a free upgrade to the next-gen version. So I think that's kind of cool, at least, that they're doing that. That's, because some companies are doing that, and I think it's really cool that, people that invest $60 in your game and then you release a new version of it, it's like, uh-oh, what's going on here? Am I going to die? Oh, I hit the button with the bowling ball. Hooray! Haha! I didn't totally.
I was like, are you being chased by a freaking bowling ball?
I thought I was. I was like, I gotta get out of the way before it kills me, but instead it turns out that it was not that bad. All right. That's a bad thing. I thought it looks like a power-up. So I'm like, all right, I can... Oh, shit. Oh, elephant down. I died. Shit.
Elephant down.
I died. I have to drink. Oh, apparently I get extra lives from the peanut butter. Fuck yes. That's awesome. It's like Donkey Kong bananas. All right. Next piece of news and booze, Pokemon cards are in McDonald's Happy Meals for the 25th anniversary of the series of Pokemon. So that's why we're streaming Tembo, is because of Pokemon's 25th anniversary, because Go Game Freak... No, that's not why. Actually, it's because it was on Steam sale, and I was like, doing it! I'm paying $3 for this wacky-ass thing! But they can include, apparently, some rare holographic cards. I guess there's 25 holographic cards in the set or something, and scalpers are apparently buying up crap loads of Happy Meals, or even... some of them have intercepted delivery boxes and, bought the whole case from stores and stuff before it even actually gets out to the public. And apparently one man posted on Twitter he was upset when he ordered 27 Happy Meals and he got all Battleship toys because they were out of the Pokemon cards, so they just put them in. And McDonald's employees, having been one, I can tell you that they don't know why you're ordering a shitload of Happy Meals. They're just like, whatever, here's your Happy Meals. And then I guess this guy was all butthurt or something. I didn't get the full story, but I thought it was humorous at least that this guy like tries to buy 27 Happy Meals to scalp fucking Pokemon cards, and then he's pissed off that it's Battleship toys. I'm like, you know what? Eat a dick. I just don't even care that you didn't get what you wanted. So I think this is just fucking ridiculous that, people would go to the excessive lengths that they're going to scalp Pokemon cards and also I worked at McDonald's during a time when Pokemon cards were like one of the Happy Meal toys, and they're not good. I collect Pokemon cards myself still, and the Pokemon cards that they put in Happy Meals are not good. Like, you can play them, they're like okay, but it's like they're there for the sake of kids getting into Pokemon card collecting. They are not there for any competitive reason or anything like that. And so like just looking at this whole situation, I'm just like, what the fuck are you guys doing, you stupid idiots? Ow.
So they're not real collectibles.
I mean,
then they're just mere.
Technically, I mean, you can collect anything. I'm sure there are collectors out there that legitimately want the sets, but I feel
true.
It's just a weird fucking thing to go out of your way to scalp them to these collectors when these collectors probably know how the idea works of, because this is not the first time by far that they've done Pokemon cards in Happy Meals. So I feel like the collectors have a pretty good idea of how to come into McDonald's stores and get what they need for the few real collectors out there. And for everybody else who's just scalping it, you're just being a dick and taking joy away from children. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. I am actually kind of digging the art style in this game, like Chris was talking about here. This is pretty cool looking.
Not a bad little game, it looks like.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun so far. I guess I'm, trying
What's the point behind it? Like, story, what's it about?
The story seems to be that, I'm not totally sure because I didn't read all the cutscenes, but I guess I'm saving all these people, because they needed a new commando to help them out. Hey, there's Chris back again. Hooray. In theory, is he there?
It looks like it, but I don't see him yet.
Those last peanuts. I'm awesome. Yeah, I don't hear him, so.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. There's Chris. Hooray!
Yeah.
He's returned.
Yeah, I had some pretty severe internet issues.
Apparently. I apparently should not have hit the... Oh, I get it. It's a time bomb, so I hit it and it blows up. Okay, there we go. I got it now. Sweet. Yeah. All right. So, Chris, we went through a few pieces of news and booze while we were waiting for you. So, what do you think about asshats scalping Pokemon cards?
Intercepting deliveries.
Yeah, I guess they, in some cases, have, like, gone out of their way to intercept deliveries. So, in some cases, they're, like, buying up a whole case from the McDonald's store before they even get to the store shelves, or not store shelves, but before they're even technically available to the target recipients, which is people who collect Happy Meal toys and or fucking kids.
I didn't know they
Now you're all breaking up there, Chris.
Yeah,
Did you break your internet again? This is not a time to break the internet.
you hear me?
A little bit. You're still breaking up.
You're coming in and out.
11 down. I have to drink again. Chug that peanut butter like a mouse. Are you still there, Chris? You might have gone away again. All right. Well, I suppose we'll get into our next piece of news and booze, and Chris can catch up. So apparently there was a GoldenEye remake, the original N64 GoldenEye that we all know and love, I'm sure. There was a remake in the works, apparently, for Xbox 360. The close to finished version of that game has now leaked online, so you can go check it out and probably play it on PC somehow. I'm sure, that's what hackers make happen. Apparently, there are conflicting reports as to why it was canceled, but it sounds like it somehow had something to do with all the licensing involved, because partially this was a license, for play on Nintendo consoles. Obviously, it was developed by Rare, who was later bought by Microsoft, which is probably why it was coming to 360. A lot of the Rare properties from that generation came over. Obviously, they remade Banjo-Kazooie and Conker and stuff like that. So, I'm not surprised that this was in the works at some point, but apparently there's a lot of things like the composer and things, and I guess all of the actors whose likenesses were used would have had to be reached out to and secure the rights for using the likeness of the actors, as well as the movie production company, because it was technically based off of a movie license for the James Bond film. So I just thought this was really interesting that this thing was in production, like, in general. And then I'm, interested to see that it has, surfaced in some form that people can now check out this, piece of kind of forgotten history, because it, obviously will never see the actual light of day. But
that's sad too, because I loved playing that game. Oh wow.
Yeah, and I totally would have bought that up for, not HD remaster, but Xbox 360, that generation specifically. I would have been all over that, because me and my brothers played GoldenEye all the time back on N64, and at that time in the 360 generation, we were still playing, a ton of Halo and all that sort of stuff. So if this came out right then, I feel like there's a lot of people who would have totally just eaten it up,
yeah.
myself included. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I still have a 360 too.
Nice.
I haven't played it in a while, but
yeah, I got mine. I have streamed a couple of things on it. Because I'm like, oh yeah, this has an HDMI port, even though I didn't actually use that back in the day, because that was before, anybody had an HD TV. So I'm like, oh, cool. So I streamed Sonic 06 actually a little while ago, and something else. But now I'm having issues with my capture card, and because it's just not a good capture card. So I have had some
what
issues
capture
with it.
card do you have?
I don't know. It's some weird cheap thing. I don't even know the brand. It's just like, I wanted to kind of get into that sort of thing just to see, when I was, especially when we were, starting the video versions of the podcast. I'm like, let's put a little gameplay or something to go with it. So I just got in as cheap as I could, basically, and it gets the job done. But it's got like 1 second input lag on or latency from the time that you push the button to see it on screen. And the console is still obviously registering it at the same rate, but you don't see it on screen until a second later. So it kind of sucks for that. Which I kind of circumvented that by getting a HDMI splitter and working it that way. And unfortunately, my TV was having difficulty with the splitter for some reason, because I was being able to pump it in through the splitter to my capture card and see it on my PC, but not the TV couldn't see it for some reason. Okay, I gotta punch this dude in the ass. Got it. This is awesome. Fuck yes. All right.
Badass elephant.
This is the most badass elephant game I have ever played. I fucking am just... This game is exactly as ridiculous as I hoped it would be. It's just, you're an elephant, and you're just blowing shit up and killing bad guys.
Mission accomplished.
Hell yeah. All right. Getting records and shit, too. I feel like with as many, like, there's a couple of little collectibles in the stages as well, so it might have a okay replay value once I'm all done with it. I don't know how long this game is, but, you know, that's pretty fun. All right, well, anyways, that's all of our news and booze. So, I guess we'll get into the video game topic. And I have literally no idea what's happening with Chris. So, yeah. I don't know if he messaged us on Discord or what. I can check that real quick. The stream is going to look real funny for a minute. No, he just says he'll be 5 to 10 minutes late. Okay, so, yeah. Not really sure what's going on that, but we'll get into our video game topic while we're waiting for him. Video game topic for the week is camera angles and control systems over the years, how they've changed, why they've changed, and what works and what doesn't. Because when I invited Seumas on, he was talking about Resident Evil, and I was actually recently thinking of trying out or bringing up a topic of various camera angle control schemes and just how camera angles work in general in different video games. And Resident Evil is one I know that has done different than is standard today. Because it came up also because a lot of people are comparing the Medium, which is a game I've been playing recently, to what the hell? I can swing on my trunk, apparently. That's hilarious. Sorry. But yeah, a lot of people are comparing the camera angles in the Medium to the camera angles in Resident Evil. It's got that sort of similar style where it's kind of like kind of a static camera, and then you know, it kind of changes when you get to the next room and that kind of thing. Which
like fixed position.
Yeah. Which for that style of game sort of works. I wasn't crazy about it in the Medium. I've also never played a Resident Evil game, unfortunately, so I can't tell you much about that. But
oh wow.
Yeah, I downloaded the first one because it's on Game Pass now. So I'm hopefully going to get back in, or I'm hopefully going to get into that for the first time here soon, but so far have not got around to it. But yeah, for the Medium, I think it kind of works, but sometimes it's just like kind of weird, because you know, when you're like just kind of exploring around the world, doing your detective shit, trying to figure out, because basically the story is you're kind of in this haunted ass hotel thing, and you're trying to, you know, figure out what all happened there, and I guess there was a massacre and stuff, and so you're doing all sorts of detective work, kind of, you know, trying to figure out the mystery of what all is going on, you know, what all went down however many years ago. There's allegedly one living guy still in the mansion, or it's not a mansion. I keep thinking of it like in terms of Luigi's Mansion. Like, you know, so, but because it's kind of like an M-rated Luigi's Mansion, a little bit, because you're just exploring this kind of thing, and it's full of ghosts and shit. But you know, it's creepier and scarier, and there's a lot of blood. So, yeah, but then you get to other parts of the game, and sometimes the camera angles really don't help. Like there's this part where you're like running from a monster, and that part was ridiculously annoying because of the camera angles.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause you,
I haven't played the game, but I understand how camera angles can be difficult, can make gameplay difficult and very annoying. Sometimes even to the extent where you don't even freaking want to play it.
yeah, and that was among the problems I had with the medium. I'm like, overall, I like the game okay so far, but I'm like, I I kind of stopped for a minute. I might come back to it later because I got to a point also where it's like, because a lot of the gameplay is just sort of slow anyways. But that's, you know, just back to the camera angles for the monster fight. It's not even a fight because you don't have any guns or nothing. You just gotta run and not get killed. And the monster fucking one shots you. And most of the time, I feel like you're fighting the camera rather than actually running for the monster. It's just like such fucked up camera angles sometimes, and if you can't see exactly where you're supposed to go next, if you take like just slightly too much of a turn in one direction or another, then you'll just get stuck up on a wall or something, and then the monster one shots you, and it's just no fun. So that's a major downside to this kind of camera angle. And I don't know, Resident Evil I feel like is generally higher praised than this game. So as somebody who's played that, uh, is that much of an issue or any of an issue at all in Resident Evil?
It can be. Like it's mainly the camera angle is mainly fixed. It's not as nearly as bad as it was on the very first one, as I recall. But you go into like certain rooms, big rooms, and the camera will be like to your left. It'll be like someone's looking at you from outside of a window, and you go by, and then you turn another direction. You're still in the same room, but it'll focus more on you. Or depending on where you go, the camera angle will like shift slightly to a different position. One thing I do not like about the camera angles in the Resident Evil games is you don't have any control over it. It's you play what you see. You take what you get basically. And especially when you're fighting monsters or bosses, and you're trying to go around a corner to dodge them, it can be difficult, especially like with the controls. But if you like the game enough, you'll get used to it.
Right, yeah.
You'll learn.
It's one of those things that you can forgive if you really like the game, right? It's not like a game breaking kind of a problem.
No. Otherwise, I would have stopped playing that game long time ago.
Yeah, that's good to hear then. Because I'm not sure if it'll be game breaking by the end of the medium or not, but so far it's like it's coming close. Because like some of those running from the monster segments are just far more annoying than they're worth to get through. I feel like, so I'm not a fan of the way that they've handled it in that game. But obviously Resident Evil I feel like has a lot of other different things going for it than this game does. Because Resident Evil is also, some amount of action and, actually fighting the zombies at all. Instead of the medium where you literally have no guns or anything. You're just kind of like there, and you've got like some psychic powers, but they're limited. And in some situations, like it kind of shifts between like you're in the spirit world for part of it, so you can see all the ghosts and stuff, and you're in the real world for part of it, so you can't see them, but you can affect it. But then it turns out the monster can go between both worlds, and when you're not in the spirit world, you can't use your powers at all. So at that point, it's like it just one shots you. You're fucked if you get touched, and I feel like that's just kind of a lame design. I'm just like, why can't I like even have this like? Because it's a very limited like bonus that you can use at all when you can use it. And then half of the time they just take it away. It's like, why did you even bother giving it to me? It's a very weird design choice, I think.
So can you not control the camera at all? I mean, is it like
No, there's
fixed
literally
or?
no camera control. It's all fixed, so but depending on the situation and what you're actually doing, it will change. If you get to a different part of the room, depending on how the room is set up, it'll change. So it's not 100% static, but it is uncontrollable. And it's not like I remember, there was a certain generation in gaming where like this was the norm, and then sometimes the camera angles would just be so shitty that it was basically unplayable anyways. And it's not that bad. Most of the camera angles are at least good enough that you can, tell what you're doing and all that. It's not like unplayable at any point because of the camera angles. Elephant down. Got a drink.
I would like to point out, though, in regards to the fixed camera angles, especially when you're playing games like Resident Evil, and I assume the medium, is that as bad as fixed position can be, it does increase the intensity of the game. Like being as how it's a horror game. When you run down a hall and you're looking at yourself running down the hall, it's like someone's looking at you. It has that horror, creepy feel to it, and that can make the game more intriguing.
Yeah,
but,
that's definitely a thing. Because there are times when the medium does that well. Because actually, the first time the monster is running at you, it kind of has that Crash Bandicoot Indiana Jones thing where the monster's chasing after you, and I thought that. In that moment when I first saw it, that was really, really awesome because it's like, oh my god, I'm getting chased by the monster, and you could really see the monster coming at you and all that, and then then I had to retry that slightly too many times for it to really be as fun anymore because of the other problems that came with the camera angles after that. But at least for the moment, that was a very cool. It made for a very cinematic kind of experience in that moment, at least. So, it does definitely have its benefits from time to time, and I think the focus, the way that they focus the camera on particular areas in the game, it kind of works for the detective work that you're doing along the way as well in certain areas. So but it's a little bit of a double-edged sword in this game, at least. So, a little bit down.
I may actually give that game a try.
Yeah, if you've got Xbox Game Pass, then it's free on there. So it's worth a go at least.
Is it not available on the Switch?
Not on Switch. It's Microsoft exclusive. So I think it's on Xbox, and I think it's also on PC. But not Switch. Unfortunately, everything's better on Switch.
Except RPG Maker.
Yeah.
Although that's a whole nother topic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought that was a good guy that I was going to rescue, and it turned out to be a bad guy. I had to kill him. Oh well. Boom. I love these cannon things. It really kind of gives almost a little bit of a Donkey Kong vibe. I'm digging this game so far. It's hilarious. There's a fire there. Don't walk in the fire. Die, bastard tank. Boom. All right. Cool.
I like how it shows the bada, bada, boof, boof when you run over things or whatever like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of has that 50s Batman vibe to it.
Right, yeah. All the sound effects just putting on here, the splash and all that. Ba-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, so I would apparently recommend this game as well. This is pretty cool. Going back to camera angles again. There's some games that I think just really didn't make good use of camera angles in other contexts as well. like Mario 64, which
I was
is
just thinking that.
yeah, as an oddly, I always feel like it's very odd that there's as much praise for Mario 64 as there is, because of how badly I think it implemented camera control. Uh, you know, which I part of my problem is that I have like basically no nostalgia for it. Like I played it a little bit when I rented it and at a buddy's house, and that was all I really played it as a kid. So it's I think easier to be critical of it now, you know, and I think it's easier for a person with no nostalgia to be critical of it in general. So I kind of like almost wish I had that nostalgia so I could see it the way that other people do, but every time I've tried Mario 64, I'm just like, it's like whatever. It's the camera angles suck and they do basically nothing to combat that. The camera does technically have a little bit of a control, but it doesn't feel even close to as fluid as Ocarina of Time. I feel like Ocarina of Time took everything that was shit about Mario 64 and fixed it. And like I don't understand why Mario 64 has the hype it does because of that.
Well, that game, it could be they were like experimenting with camera controls, because you had limited control over the camera, but only so much, which got very annoying. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I fell in a hole.
But
wasn't sure how to get out of that area. Yeah, that's true. Like, to an extent, it's like it did have a controllable camera, which was interesting for the time and, for how it worked. Like, it doesn't seem like it was such a terrible thing, but I don't know. It's so hard to, like, see something that came out, 25 years ago now and be like, oh, shit. I tried to hit my melee up and it... Yep. Okay. Yeah. So
when was your first time playing that game, Mario 64?
Like I said, I played it a tiny bit as a kid, just with a buddy, and then, like, later I tried it on an emulator, like, a few years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but yeah, then my first real deep dive was with the new release of 3D All-Stars, which I think like even in the newest fanciest Switch port, it's still just riddled with these camera problems. I think I would have liked them to at least address the camera and just, like, I feel like giving it a more modern camera feel like they did in the Xbox 360 Banjo-Kazooie remake. I think that would have gone a long way into making this game just more playable, because as it is, like, it's hard to even want to play this game for me, personally. I just, like, I forced myself to go through a few levels just to see, like, keep telling myself, oh yeah, it'll get better, it'll be fine, everybody loves this game, but I just can't see it.
Can't get into it.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm trying, guys. So, but that's an interesting thing that I kind of thought would be interesting to talk about, is over the years how camera controls have developed and changed, because obviously, like, what Mario 64 did was almost more akin to what we have now, where you actually have left and right control and zoom and stuff occasionally. But Ocarina of Time had actually a much more limited amount of control, but I feel like it worked a million times better, because literally the camera would automatically move itself, and the only thing you could do is push that Z button to recenter it on you, and you could hold that Z button to hold it and strafe. And I think it's weird that the thing that's closer to modern gaming was was not as good as something else that seems like you had lesser control over the camera, so shouldn't that be the lesser option? But I feel like it worked so much better, and I feel like I'm not the only person that will say this. I feel like most people, if you ask them what had better camera controls, Ocarina of Time or Mario 64, I could be wrong, but I think a large number of people would say that it was Ocarina of Time.
Oh, and I agree. I mean, like you said, the camera, pretty much follows you. It's automatic.
Yeah.
And in order to straighten things up, hit that Z button. That's very easy. It makes it ergonomically efficient for the gamer. Whereas in Mario 64, you had some control over it. Move the joystick or hit the C buttons to move it, but it had its limitations.
Yeah.
You couldn't really center it, but yeah. Ocarina of Time, camera angles, far better.
Yeah. And I think maybe part of it has to do with the play style, because obviously Mario 64 is a platformer. I think the camera angles maybe just come to light a little bit more, because I wish I could change it all the time, because it would be convenient to be able to see this platforming puzzle from a different angle all the time. And in Ocarina of Time, there was like a little bit of platforming and other kinds of puzzles. Also, I think the first-person camera that they added in Ocarina of Time really went a long way as well, because you didn't really have that in Mario 64 to the extent... Was there a first-person camera in that game? I don't remember.
No, you could zoom up real close, right behind Mario.
Yeah, so it was like...
away.
You could kind of do the same thing with that real close zoom in, but it wasn't quite as fluid, and it didn't control as well as it did in Ocarina of Time.
No.
Yeah. Oh shit. Fuck. Damn it. This level's just full of tricky holes to fall in.
Elephant down, bottoms up.
Yep. I'll drink to that, yeah. So if you're drinking along at home, then go ahead and chug. Because I'm dying a lot suddenly. So do you think the style of game, because we've kind of talked about a few totally different styles of game, because obviously Resident Evil has a totally different style of game and a totally different style of camera to Ocarina of Time or Mario 64, and the same is true in, every single direction that you could take it from those particular games. None of them is really like the other in a lot of ways. So the fact that we're talking about totally different camera angles, I feel like is kind of strange, because they're different types of games. So of course they, it almost seems natural to take the camera angles and different, design choices based on the different types of games there are. So
having... Go ahead.
So I was just gonna wonder if Mario 64 had Ocarina of Time's camera control system, literally, would it have actually fixed Mario 64 and made it a better game, or is there more to it than that? Because obviously it worked for Ocarina of Time, but I don't know if it would have worked for Mario 64 or not, because they're just such totally different games. But maybe it would have. I think it would have helped, because I think it was better. Did you disappear now, too? Are you there?
Yeah. Your camera cut out.
Oh, that's odd. I wonder why.
And now I just see a Toon Link.
Oh, yeah, that's my Discord profile picture there, so I see that too. Although I'm not sure why the camera just decided to cut out. So the whole thing changed on the stream. So I was like, wait, did you disconnect? Is everybody disconnecting from me? What's going on? Everybody's trying to leave me. Nobody likes me. I'm going to have to drink to myself. Okay, so now that I've fixed that, Yeah, we're just having every kind of technical issue we possibly can all at once. Yeah. Ah, shit. I thought I
But
watered those. Oh, well.
But back to the issue. I think if Mario 64 had Ocarina of Time's camera controls, that game would be far more fun. Now, granted, I still love Mario 64, and I'll freaking play that game when I'm 80 years old.
Uh-huh.
But the camera controls would be a lot better, and it would make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
If it had Ocarina of Time's frame.
Yeah. That's kind of what I think, because I'm like, looking at it, I think just making it better in any way would just go a long way to making that game more playable and more enjoyable, at least for me. Like, I get that most people don't really care all that much, I feel like, compared to what I think about it, and, you know, that's fine. Everybody can have their own opinion. So I'm not, like, totally decrying everybody for, you know, liking this game that I'm just not very enthralled by. But I think the camera controls particularly are something that could go a long way to, you know, spiffing it up a little bit.
And that's one important factor when developing a game. You know, having rudimentary experience in game development, I think it is imperative to test it out first. And you know, one reason I think that camera angles and things like that have evolved over the years is getting the opinions of game testers, getting their feedback. We know saying what works, what doesn't work. So
yeah, and as well as even just gamers sometimes, you know, because a lot of games, I think, back in like the early 3D era, you know, of the original PS1 N64, you know, I think at that time people were very vocal about which games had good camera angles and which ones didn't, because there was a lot more games kind of in that generation that just had static cameras where you couldn't control anything, and you know, it would just, the camera is what you get. That you know, that's it. So I think just, you know, gamers as well kind of might have influenced that, because, you know, that was a big issue back in the day, I think, because I remember like some games I really, really liked, but I would say, oh man, this would be great if the camera angles didn't totally suck, because, you know, in some levels of some games it like ruined the experience. I remember a particular one was the Lord of the Rings movie tie-in games, which were kind of cheesy in retrospect, but at the time it was just like super awesome to be like playing these movies basically that I just like. Even actually some of them came out, I think the Two Towers and the Return of the King ones came out before the movies did. Ah, shit. Elephant down. So it was cool because you could play through the game and get, like, not the whole story, but you'd get, like, the highlights of the story. And actually they licensed actual movie scenes from New Line. So there was actually, like, movie clips in the game. And at the time, it was just super mind-blowing. Oh, wow. And the games themselves were fine. They weren't, like, incredible, but it was like an okay hack-and-slash action RPG. It was, like, nothing wrong with that. And they were co-op multiplayer, which me and my brothers really just loved anything that had co-op multiplayer back in the day. So we'd spend just a ton of time going through all the levels with that, and, you know, going back on hard mode and collecting all the best loot and shit like that. So... But there were particular levels that we just dreaded when we would get to this level, because it's like, oh, the camera angles in this one are terrible. Like, almost make it unplayable.
I haven't played any of the Lord of the Rings games, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah. It might just be one of those things that only me and my brothers will ever experience, because I feel like not a lot of people played any of them anyways. I get a fair amount of people I talk to have, like, played the Game Boy Advance version, which actually was our favorite version, ironically, even though it, you know, it didn't have, like, the actual movie scenes or anything like that. But it was, Like, I feel like as a game, it was the best version of it. Oh, shit. Levels are kind of starting to ramp up the difficulty here. I think I'm going to run out of lives soon. Ow, fuck. Fuck you. Oh, God. I can't get through. Bye. So yeah, was there any game that really just kind of screwed you on camera angles and you would have loved it if it wasn't for just the terrible camera angles? Or any level in any game that really just got to you?
I can't say that any game has been ruined by mere camera angles alone.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say the greatest difficulty with camera angles would be Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to fight when you're trying to run away from one of those rabid dogs or zombies or whatever, you're trying to run around a corner or you just like I don't know, I like to control the camera.
Right, yeah.
And so it makes it difficult.
Yeah. Especially coming from a modern perspective, too, because I feel like at the time it was like, just one of those things that you accepted and just kind of knew was going to be an issue going into games. Like those Lord of the Rings games, it was like, it didn't ruin the experience by any means, but, there was just levels that were ridiculously annoying because of the mechanics of it. So... but nowadays it's like pretty much every game just uses, this twin stick control, and just makes it work better. There we go. I figured out how to hit this guy. Don't hit the bombs, hit the tennis balls. Why does this tank shoot tennis balls? What a fucking idiot. Alright, I got the tank. I'm so cool. I'm the badassest elephant in the world. All right. Anything else to say on the topic of camera angles in general?
Yes, actually. I will give credit to the camera angles in Resident Evil 4 because they pretty much follow Ocarina of Time's style.
Mm-hmm.
The camera angle follows you. It's in third person.
Okay.
And it follows you. So I really love the camera angles in that game. It makes it a whole lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. So you still really can't control them, but it's not annoying like some other Resident Evil titles.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get you back on and we'll talk about Resident Evil once I play it, because I got it downloaded on my Xbox, but I haven't got around to actually playing it yet. But now that I'm like kind of taking a break from the medium, at least maybe I'll have a chance. So yeah. All right. Well, if that's that, I guess I didn't actually choose a tabletop topic. I was going to talk to Chris about it, but now he's disappeared and apparently cannot reconnect for some reason. So, would you like to bring up a topic about tabletops, or I guess we could do a second video game topic if that's more your thing, or we could just call it. I'm not sure. This has been a weird podcast night, so I have no idea what to do now. Because my plans have all fallen through, and we've had all the technical difficulties. But I'll drink to it anyway.
As far as tabletop, I haven't played any tabletops in a long time. D&D was the last one I played.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm given to understand that there's a 5th edition. I know nothing about that.
Yeah, 5th edition is now the popular one. I started a fair while ago. I started when 3rd edition was the the bee's knees, as all the kids are saying these days. That's what the kids say these days, right?
Okay.
Something like that. I don't know what the kids say. But yeah, 5th edition I like pretty well, and actually, if you're interested in getting into it, I think 5th edition would be a very good starting point, because it's not as steep a learning curve as some past editions. I feel like it's friendlier to just kind of pick up and understand. Part of the key to getting into tabletops, I feel like, is getting a good group, though. So unfortunately, if you don't have like a good group that's willing to, sit down and play this thing semi-consistently, it's still could be really painful to get into. But 5th edition is one of the best editions to get into for a new tabletop player. I'll say that. I think there might be a couple of different... I kind of wish Chris was here on that topic, actually, because Chris plays all sorts of like weird tabletop games, just buys tabletop books and will just read them as like just for fun, which is something I always have enjoyed about talking to him about, because he just plays so many different weird kinds of tabletops, that I'm just like, all right, I don't think this was how... I think this was a puzzle, and I think I fucked it up. Yeah, I'm sure he could, like, tell us about some indie tabletop that I've, like, never even heard about that would be even better for new players, but even he would, I think, say... I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think he's said this in the past, that 5th edition is a pretty good starting point, intro into tabletops that's not too over the top for a lot of people. So,
Okay.
yeah. If you're interested, maybe, if you can find a good group, then maybe give it a go one of these days.
Yeah, that's one thing about like D&D campaigns, is that you have to find a good committed group. Of course, people have their own lives, their own responsibilities, and things like that.
Scheduling
so
is
it can
always
be
an
hard.
issue. If even with some of the most consistent groups, every now and then you'll just like, it'll be like 3 weeks in a row, somebody will have some shit come up in their life or something. So it can be difficult for that reason, at least. But it's I think it's worth it. If you can get it, if it really depends on, a lot of other factors as well, but I really get a kick out of these kind of things. So that was apparently our tape. Oh, wait, hold on. That thing opened. I can get this giant ass peanut for a buttload of peanuts, which is good because I fell in so many fucking holes. For the people listening to the audio version of the podcast, check us out on YouTube, and you'll have any idea what I'm talking about with the fucking holes and the peanuts. Every Friday we have some sort of weird exclusive gameplay from something, which this week is Tembo the Badass Elephant, as we said earlier. So, yeah, this is just a weird, jolly enough game that I would recommend it. I'm actually having a blast with this. It's just the right kind of weird, I think. It's pretty fun. And the platforming isn't like stupidly intense, which I was maybe a little afraid of. It's good balance between action and platforming. Ah, spiky dude. Forgot about him. Gotcha. Yeah. All right.
So you're playing it on Steam. Are you using a controller or?
I am using a controller. That's just my preferred way to game in general. I don't like mouse and keyboard as well, so I'll use it if I have to. Or in certain cases, I think it works a lot better. Especially like if a game is like supports controller but clearly is not made for controller, like Left 4 Dead. I remember was like that back in the day, where I got the Xbox port and it was just not very well suited to a controller. And then I played it on PC later, and I was like, actually, this works surprisingly well. And which is weird because most of the time shooters, I think, work way better with controllers, and I don't understand why everybody likes mouse and keyboard with them. But in the case of at least Left 4 Dead, I thought that it was the opposite. I thought it were just, which might have just been partly, you know, on the development side. Like, you know, if the developers are gonna make a game for PC and customize it around that, I can see that just being an issue when you want to port it to, you know, a console. Oh, I did exactly the same fucking thing, and I got crushed by that shit. Damn it. I have to drink again.
You know, you got to do now, yep.
Yep. Got to drink every time you die. That's the rules here, so. Yeah. I am just not very impressed by this Coors Banquet. Johnny Lawrence, or the writers of Cobra Kai, if you're listening, tell Johnny that this is far from the most badass beer in the world. There's a lot of better shit out there. This is light as hell. There's just not a ton of flavor in it. It's like, I remember the last time I had this and I thought this is better than regular Coors, but I haven't had regular Coors or this in so long that I'm just like, this is technically beer, but that's literally all I can say about it. It's like slightly malty water. That they talk about all that Rocky Mountain water, which is great. We have good water here in Colorado, but if that's like 80% of the beer, 90% of the beer, then you got an issue there. So we rate our beer on a scale of 3 to 17 here on Drink to the Past, and I am gonna give this beer a 4. I don't think it's the worst beer I've had on the podcast, but it's close. Curse you, Cobra Kai, for being so great and making me buy your terrible beer. But on the plus side, that show is like ridiculously awesome. I don't know if you've watched it.
I have not.
All right.
I have not. I was told that it was good and that I should watch it, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I've been working on my videos and playing the games on the side and doing writing.
That's fair. I didn't get around to it for a while, partially because it started as a YouTube Red series, and that was a foolish decision on their part. But now it's all on Netflix, because I guess they've signed a new contract, and the season 3 is exclusive to Netflix. Was never on YouTube Red, as far as I know. So that's cool. And all 3 seasons, I'm just like, totally awesome. Brings back a lot of nostalgia for me as a Karate Kid fan from back in the day. But I also don't think you need to be like a hardcore fan. I think they give you enough information in the show that even if you've never watched a Karate Kid movie, I feel like you could still just get into this, and they'll give you the important information from the show. So it's not like I think it's better if you watched the Karate Kid movies, but I don't think it's necessary. So if that's your only issue, then definitely check out this show, because it's legitimately one of the most well-constructed shows I've ever watched. It's like there's really well-written drama. It's funny, and a lot of times I don't think those balance. I think in modern cinematography, I feel like when you try to combine them too hard, a lot of times it's just like, come on, stop being serious, be funny for a little while, or the opposite. It's just like, I can't take any of the drama seriously because this is so wacky, right? But Cobra Kai strikes like the perfect balance of, it's like, it's got its over the top crazy ass karate fights, it's got its funny moments, and it's got its really down home sweet drama. And I'm like, it is one of the best shows ever made. So definitely recommend that. All right, well, we're coming up on our run time here anyways, even if we didn't have a table topic for the week. So sorry for those of you who were tuning in for that. Unfortunately, Chris bailed on us, and we didn't know what to do. But I had a fun time chatting with you. We'd definitely have you on again sometime.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you're-
definitely.
Yeah, if you're up for it, so And for those of you viewing at home, remember every Friday night, ring that bell and you'll get a notification on YouTube when we're live, which is every Friday, right about 9:30. We were a little bit late today, and that will happen sometimes because life and internet and stuff. But as always, I'm your glorious host, Spamoman. You can find me at SpamomanOSpam on the Twitter. You can find me on tgpzgaming.com as well, where you can also find Seumas's new articles. Hashtag shameless plug. Yeah, it's just a great website in general. I like what they're doing with it because it's primarily like a one-stop shop for all of your crazy gaming-related merchandise from all around the web that is compiled into one place that you can easily just search all sorts of wacky shit and be like, okay, I want to look at collectibles or mugs or apparel, stuff like that. And it's a really cool website in general. And also, we got the blog there. My latest article is up there, which is about Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. It was a really awesome game. You should check that out. And if you're not totally interested, check out my thoughts and then see what you think. Maybe you'll like it. I don't know. And of course, this is the part where I usually say, and I was joined by my co-host, but Chris fucking bailed on us, that bastard, and his lousy internet. But yeah, apparently technical difficulties can happen sometimes. I'm not that worried about it. So Chris will hopefully be back again eventually. And we've had our special guest, Seumas.
You can find me on Twitter at the Seumas, and on YouTube as Seumas the Kilted Gamer, and I'm on fanfiction.net under the same name, Seumas the Kilted Gamer.
Cool. What kind of fanfiction you do?
Zelda. I've written 2 Zelda stories, and I'm cooking up an Octopath Traveler story.
Ooh, I would be
Haven't
very
started it
interested
yet.
in that, actually. Octopath Traveler is one of my favorite, like, literally fucking top 3 games here. I'm going to show off here. Hold on. I got my fucking Wayfarer edition here. Right the fuck here on my shelf. I love this thing. This is my favorite collector's edition I have ever bought. I fucking love it. I actually like legitimately display a couple of different things from this on my shelf all the time. Also, like the fucking cloth map here is one of the coolest things that came in that. And I keep there's a coin in here that I keep in my dice with when I play D&D. So I always got that for if you need a 2-sided die, heads is 1 and tails is 2. So I use that regularly. Or just if you need, sometimes it comes up if you're playing D&D, you need a coin flip or something. So yeah, I am very excited about. So let me know about that when you get that Octopath Traveler around, because this is seriously like top 3 game for me. I keep flip flopping lately since I played Final Fantasy VII Remake and Hellblade, actually, which I was talking about a second ago. Kind of those 3 rotate between my top 2, 3, 4, and Breath of the Wild. So those are kind of my number 1 is always going to be Ocarina of Time, I'm pretty sure. And then those 4 just kind of float about depending on like what I've been playing lately and what I'm, sometimes I'm just like in a mood that I'm just like, no, I need this now. So, yeah. But absolutely fucking great game.
How many hours have you put into Octopath Traveler?
A little over 100, because a large... Hey, Chris is back. Holy shit.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back.
He's, yeah, let me alter the Discord input here so that we can all see you. There we go.
hello. I spent the last hour on the phone with Comcast trying to get them to fix the internet.
Those bastards. You're still breaking up a little bit there, but...
Yeah, there's an issue with our lines.
Well, that's awkward timing for this. So, Chris, as long as we got you back on here, you can shamelessly plug yourself, because we're already in that part of the podcast.
Yeah. Well, you guys made it through it pretty fast.
Yeah, it was a little faster because we didn't I wasn't sure. I didn't pick a table topic, and I was like, I can't pick a table topic. I'm playing Tembo. So,
Uh,
unfortunately,
hi.
no table topic this week. But yeah,
Hi, I'm Chris All That Coke Audette.
all that coke.
You can find my writings on Drive-Thru RPG and on itch.io under 5 Cataclysms. I wrote the adventure House of Flowers, with post-D&D ish things.
So he said he wrote the adventure House of Flowers. Now he's breaking up again, so I'm not totally sure what else he said. But you can check him out on Drive-Thru RPG if you're interested in some kind of OD&D sort of style games. And some adventures as well. He's also got his co-author, who you can find. So look up 5 Cataclysms, and you can find their is the name of their tabletop RPG system that they've co-created. Basically, it's similar to OD&D, so real high lethality, and kind of but rewards clever knowledge of shit. So it's a bit hit and miss with me, but a lot of people really dig it. So if you know what I'm talking about, if you really dig that particular, or if you're just interested, then it is still a solidly made RPG system, and I totally respect it, even though it's not exactly my number one go-to. So, Chris, are you still there? He might have even disappeared again. I'm not sure. He started breaking up there for a little bit, so...
It looks like he's still here. I see his name in the list.
Yeah, I still see it in his icon in the Discord, but yeah, not sure if he's actually connected. It's hard to tell because like if he disconnects, then how long does it take for Discord to realize? I don't know. So.
Okay.
I'm not totally sure because this doesn't happen all the time, but apparently Comcast done fucked up. So. Don't get
I have
Comcast internet
too, and I've had my fair share.
Yeah, actually, I've had Comcast internet like forever, and I barely ever have any major problems with it. So, especially now that I got a new router, and it's got 5 megabit internet speed for connected devices, which is just like, oh my god, now I can actually like fucking stream Halo on my phone on the Game Pass thing on my home Wi-Fi, which is just insane. It's so cool that I can just fucking stream Halo. You know, it's awesome, and other games than that too. There's a ton of things on this, but anyway, I won't brag about that too much. But yeah, go check out Seumas. He talks about Octopath Traveler. Yeah.
There's one more thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
One thing before we end it off and let go.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't already know, the Scottish Gaelic word or term for whiskey is ushkabeha, ushka meaning water, and ushkabeha is literally translated as water of life.
Mm-hmm. I did know
The
that.
more you know.
Yeah, it's a.
You did?
Yeah, It's funny because I like literally when we started following each other on Twitter, I was just like, wait, hold on, is this guy me? He's like Scottish, he's a gamer, he's totally into Scottish culture. Just in the Discord the other day, you were just like posted, you know, a video from a good Scottish band that I listen to all the time. Who was it? Was it Clown and Drama?
Yep.
Or yeah, and I'm like, oh yeah, I totally dig them. I found them out once because somebody linked me a video of them doing the Gale, which is a totally weird, different version that like nobody does the Gale like they do because they actually like if you look at it, what they did actually is they kind of hold different notes in different areas to translate it from a 6/8 to a 4/4, which is just a weird decision to make, but for how they do it, it's super badass. I totally dig it. And as a bagpiper, it took me a second I was just like, hold on, that's not how that tune sounds, but it fucking rocks the way they do it though. So it's like, I'll take it. All right. I played it that way because somebody somehow it was coming up in my pipe band one time that it was super weird that it was not a 4/4 or something, and because it's actually a very cleverly written tune. If you go look up the Gale, there's actually one part that is written in 4 and one part that's written in 6, and they mesh up correctly so that if you play the 4/4 and the 6/8 at the same time, it syncs up to make it sound correct, even though technically one part is played in 4/4 and one part is played in 6/8. And so somebody asked, like, what if you actually translated it to both parts 4/4? And I'm like, oh, I've heard a band that does that, and I played it for him. And one of the other pipers was just like, this is like a weird abomination. It doesn't make sense. You can't do it like that. I'm like, I just did. So, yeah. Also, if you're interested in bagpipes, actually, just yesterday, I did another bagpipe video on the channel, which I don't do all the time, but every now and then, I know that I have a handful of followers who follow for bagpipe videos. So, on the channel, I put up a cover of the theme song from The Mandalorian. Because my brother was like, hey, can you play this on bagpipes? And I was like, I don't know, but it sounds cool, so I'm going to try it. And I think I got a pretty well arranged version. It's not the best performed because I'm not very good at playing the tin whistle because I am a bagpiper, not a tin whistle player. But
I saw that video, yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what? For my YouTube, I'm not high production quality, and like, literally, my tin whistle cost me $1. Don't begrudge me.
I am here.
Chris is here.
Not quite alive and not quite dead.
Chris, not quite alive
I live
and not
in
quite
limbo.
dead or dead.
Yeah.
Schrodinger's all dead.
My webcam won't work every
kind of
time I
beer
try
you
to
drinking there,
upload
buddy?
video. Things, internet seems to break, and also time seems to break. Everything just seems to go fuzzy.
At least your
I look
audio
around
isn't
me.
breaking up now, so that's actually kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, my upload speed is something like 0.05 megabits or something like that. So
That's not very many.
yeah, not a lot. I look to my left and I look to my right, and all I see is the void, and it's closing on me. And when this podcast ends, I'm probably going to end. I'm just going to stop existing because that's how bad the internet is right now.
Yeah, Chris lives
It's
in
actually,
the internet.
yeah, it's actually crushing my existence. So I'll just return to the void until next week. Or whenever we have a podcast again.
Or whenever
In which case I'll be up
Comcast
here.
fixes, hopefully it won't take them a week to fix the internet, right?
Yeah, hopefully not.
That'd be awkward.
That'd be horrible.
Yeah. Then you couldn't watch porn.
Oh, wow.
Or whatever
Yeah,
it
that
is
would
you
be
do with the internet.
Terrible.
I'm kidding. I know you watch porn. Everybody watches porn. That's what the
Well,
internet is
yeah.
for, right?
Yeah.
Somebody did a
Have
video
you seen
about
that musical?
Yeah, Avenue Q.
Cute.
I almost did go and see that live. It was at a dinner theater up in Boulder, and I was like, that sounds hilarious. I want tickets. And then I never actually got around to buying the tickets, and then I was like, hey, is that still happening? And it was like, oh, it happened last month. And I was like, fuck. Damn it. I wanted to see that. So it's too bad. But Chris, what kind of beer are you drinking this week? Have you drunk a lot of beer because of what shit's going on?
I drink peanut butter graham cracker porter. I was not drinking because I was already just like busting a vein furious, and I didn't. But I was mostly yelling at the automated system because you don't want to yell at like the people on the phone because lots of people do that and it's shitty.
Yeah.
Who yells at people on the phone, huh? Like
Dicks?
call center people. Yeah, dicks.
I try to be good to them because it's like, it's probably, I feel like that's probably a tricky job to do just to deal with how many fucking morons you get, right? Like, if you've seen the IT crowd, that's not very satirical. That's literally
Yeah,
just what
it's-
happened. Yeah, hi, have you tried
It's-
turning it off and on again? That
It's
shit
much-
is like 80% of fixes in their departments.
The most impressive thing about it was probably that I got to say, yes, I already tried turning it off and on again. And it's still not, it actually works worse now. So.
Right? And they're like, oh my god, he actually tried turning it off and on again before he called us? This guy's a fucking tech expert. Right. Yeah. So anyways, that brings us to the final segment of the podcast where we just talk about inane bullshit until somebody says something ridiculously awkward, and then I cut off the podcast. So.
Oh, I thought we were already in the inane bullshit segment.
I mean,
of the
we
podcast.
were, but I hadn't introduced it yet, so I felt like it was necessary to introduce it just in case.
So now it's official.
Yeah, now it's official, because technically we were still in the part where we, plug our shit, except for, we kind of drifted into inane bullshit, but I didn't introduce it as inane bullshit. So for any first-time viewers, which would include maybe potentially 2 of our concurrent viewers, which thank you for joining us at the very end of the podcast, people. Although I think one of those is Seumas, because he had to tune in because he wasn't seeing my stream in Discord.
Yeah, and the other one of those is me.
God damn it! You know what? Whatever. It's fine. I'm not that worried about it. Somebody will watch the entire thing on the replay. Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah, so, Chris, what you been playing lately?
Let's see.
We
Dota 2?
did skip the what you playing segment, which I forget sometimes, especially when I'm not paying attention because I'm streaming Tembo.
Also, I've been playing Synthetic. I think I talked about Synthetic before.
I don't remember
That's,
its by name.
It's
but
kind of
maybe
like
you
a
did.
top-down roguelike shooter. Almost a twin-stick shooter, except you have 360-degree vision.
Okay.
Very mechanically in-depth, and also very good. It's one of the most fun roguelikes I've played in a while. I'd put it, on par with Enter the Gungeon, which, if you listen to the podcast at all,
Yeah, Chris
in the year
has
of
a boner for
2019...
Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of these days, that's one of those that I've meant to get around to, but I haven't.
Well, if it's all the same to you, I may play that on one of our future streams here.
That would be good. That would be a good
And,
stream game.
yeah.
I think I
Give
might
that
do
a-
Tembo the Badass Elephant again sometime, but yeah, because this was actually a surprisingly fun little weird action platformer thing. I'm pleasantly surprised with how good this is. Lately I haven't been playing too much out of the ordinary, except I did download Burnout Paradise on Game Pass, which I think I played the original release of. This is the remastered version, so I'm not sure, because I've played like a bunch of Burnout games way back in the day, and I don't remember which one is which, and like none of this really feels familiar as far as certain parts feel familiar, but I'm not sure if they feel familiar because I played this game or because I've just played the Burnout franchise in general. So it's super weird because I swear I played this game, but as I'm booting it up, I'm just like, I don't remember any of this. So it's kind of weird. It's pretty cool because it's got like a big ass open world to just drive around in, and it's nice because I haven't played a racing game that felt this fast in a long time. And so I'm really digging that, because the last racing game I tried on Game Pass, I tried Forza Horizon 4, and that was like, it was okay. It felt a little too technical of a racing game. It wasn't as wacky or over the top as Burnout, so I was like, yeah, I don't know, not for me. And I played another one that just felt really slow, and now I'm trying to remember what it was. I talked about it on some podcast 8 or 12 weeks ago, so go check out whatever the podcast that was, and you'll hear my opinions on whatever game that was. But it just feels really good to go this fast for the first time in a long time, because I haven't played much racing games outside of Mario Kart in like a long-ass time.
Yep.
Yeah. Seamus,
Last
what you
one
been
I
playing
recall
this week?
I've been working with a couple games, actually. I'm playing Resident Evil 0 at night. That game's fun. I love that game, but there are no freaking inventory boxes to store my inventory, and I hate having to choose what items to leave behind. And it's annoying. I know you haven't played Resident Evil, but you're going to experience the joy of that soon.
I've had similar problems in that, because I know what you're talking about, and because that reminds me specifically of Diablo 2. Where you had a lot of that kind of inventory management thing where, like, because, like, in general, you have, like, your equipment doesn't count as part of your inventory page, right? And then, but, like, depending on the situation, you keep a lot of extra gear on hand in that game, especially when you get into the late game, where you're just, like, half of your inventory page is just shit that you carry all the time in case you run into something that your normal gear set won't work with. And then, like, through the game, you're just like, oh, here's loot, this is really good, and I'll pick that up, and I'll pick this up, but then, you know, like, a few monsters into the encounter, you're like, okay, now my loot page is full. And so, like, a large portion of the game ends up being, like, discarding loot and trying to figure out what gets you more gold per item slot in your inventory, basically. You're just like, is this worth the 6 squares that it takes? Because, you know, in the sort of grid system that its inventory system uses, sometimes that'll be worth it, and sometimes it'll be like, oh no, I could carry these 4 magic rings instead of this sword, and that'd be more total gold worth or something. But sometimes I felt like I was just staring at it doing math for way too long, and I'm just like, I don't want to do math, I want to kill demons! Damn it! Why am I not playing Doom? That's what I love about Doom. It fucks the math, and it just is like, here, this is demons, shoot them.
I, too, also want fuck math.
Yeah. Fuck math, that's the best game ever.